Howdy, youth families. Welcome to the Student Lounge. I am so glad you're here. There is a ton of stuff that you need to know, and instead of just me putting in an email, which I'm going to put it in an email anyway, I thought it would be worth your time to hear my voice, understand a little bit of the reasoning on how we're doing things and sort of what's coming up this semester. There's a lot to cover, so hang tight with me. Thanks so much for your patience. Let's get after it. Here we go. Number one, for starters, there was going to be no midweek this week, January the 5th. LC basketball has started. There are over 300 basketball players this year, and so this building is buzzing right now. I thought it would be wise, not only with our students starting school tomorrow, it would probably be really, really wise for us to go ahead and give the LC basketball crew an opportunity for them to get their bearings straight too, at least their first week out. So no midweek this week. We'll kick back up next week. I think that's the 12th. And we'll talk more about that later on. But just getting that out there, no midweek this coming week. Number two, it is 2022, so it's time to fill out the paperwork. We need to go ahead and get our new medical releases in place. I'm going to go ahead and hound you about those now, because once you get yours done for this year, you're done with it. You don't have to do any more. I always like Ross. She was really, really handy. So I'm attaching that particular form to this email. We'll have some hard copies here in place also. So if you could fill it out, get that back to us. Again, it's done for all of 2022, at least as far as Lake Church paperwork goes. There's always other people's paperwork, but anyway, let's go ahead and get that done. We'll be covered for there. All right, let's talk about D Now. That's probably the biggest thing going on right now. There's a lot that goes with that. Number one, we're excited about D Now. It's next weekend. It's January 14th and 15th. The registration deadline is this coming Sunday, and there'll be more specific information for those who registered that'll pop out then also. But this year's theme is engage. We're engaged. We're really excited about the concept of helping our students understand how to engage their world with the gospel. We've got Gary Stidham as our speaker. Many of you know Gary. He is the campus missionary that we help support at UTA. He and Thomas get to work together from time to time on stuff. Gary's been here for the better part of 2 decades, and I'm not sure I know anybody personally that is better and more faithful just to share the gospel with all kinds of people, really from all around the world. But he does that here in Arlington with college students. So he knows how to talk to young people, and he knows how to talk to all kinds of people. Who better for us to learn from and how to engage other people with the gospel? So we're excited for Gary to come. We're going to be looking at some stuff from the book of Acts, so it's going to be great. Here's some other stuff you need to know. Again, the registration deadline is this Sunday. Please, let's honor that. That's going to help me and Kate and Curly plan so much more effectively if we know exactly who many and how many are coming. And we have the better part of a week to kind of just put the final polishing details on that. Number two, the cost is $30. Unless you have 3 or more kids coming, then we have a special discount. Let me know if that's the case for you. I'll send you that discount code. I'd love to do that for you. But also, if money is the only reason your kid is not coming, please don't let that be the case. I promise there are people who would love to help get your kid to D Now. So don't let money be the issue. But it is a $30 cost. What does that get your kid? Well, 3 really incredible meals. It's going to get them a great t-shirt, lots of excellent training, a ton of fun time with their friends, a special fun event on Saturday afternoon, a really cool service project we're going to do on Saturday afternoon, and again, more food. It's far more than a $30 value, well worth your time, and we love to do that. I want this to be something that all of them walk away not only feeling like they got their money's worth, but really their time really well spent. So $30 is the cost. The biggest change you need to know is, and we started to do this last year, but we're absolutely doing it this year. We're going to stay in the church this year as opposed to host homes, and there's a handful of reasons for that. But really the biggest reason is this. It's entirely possible, in fact, statistically plausible, that as we move towards next weekend, one of my host homes is going to have to call me last minute and say, hey, we've got COVID. We can't host students now. And then we're scrambling trying to figure out where to put teenagers. It's also statistically plausible that one of my leaders is going to call me and say, hey, I've tested positive. I can't come lead now. So by having this event at the church, including the first night, overnight portion, that not only decrease, and that might sound antithetical to you, but follow my reasoning here. If I've got them all here together, I'm not scrambling for places for students to stay in case one of my host homes or one of my leaders pops up and can't come. I've got plenty of space. In fact, I've got more space here than I would total with the probably 11 or 12 different host homes that we were looking at implementing originally. That being said, we do still need some help in navigating that. So if you want to take part of that, please reach out to me. I've got some cool jobs. I need some night guards. I do need some people who would be willing just to come up here and sleep in the students' rooms. Again, we've got college leaders that are coming, but inevitably I'm going to lose somebody, so I'm hoping to pick up some others in the process too. So if you'd like to help out, please do that. We also need some help with transportation. There's not a lot of transportation, but our service project that I'm going to tell you more about in a minute involves some transportation. So still plenty of areas. Oh, and then the food thing, we always need help with that too. Students, boys are going to be probably downstairs, girls are going to be upstairs as far as the sleeping situation goes, and that's only going to be on Friday night. Saturday night, they'll come back home to you to stay in your home, they'll sleep well, and they'll come right back here on Sunday morning well rested and ready to worship together as a church family. But that means we'll be together all day long on Saturday, and that'll be really, really great. So again, we're going to feed them really, really well on breakfast. We'll have our second worship session. Students will report here to the church at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. We'll get them set up in their little bunks, and they'll go to the first worship service. Then we'll give them their marching orders after the worship service when, again, it's just our group. There are 6 other churches that are joining us for our worship sessions again this year, which we're excited about. But Saturday morning, we'll feed them breakfast. We'll go to the second worship session. We will eat lunch collectively as all the misfits together. And then after that, we'll dive into our fun time and our service project, which really is going to be a truly sweet. The kids are going to feel like they accomplished something practical. They're going to accomplish something very spiritual. And I think all will be able to walk away going, hey, that was a really cool thing. And then we'll come back to the church. We'll have one more giant feast together. We'll have our final worship session. Between 9:30 and 10 o'clock is when you'll come pick them up from here in the main parking lot. And again, they'll go home, sleep in their own beds, and you'll come back here together as a family, and we'll worship. And it'll be a great, great day. We want them to wear their new t-shirts because that's always a fun photo opportunity. This takes a little bit of the guesswork and the potential curveballs being thrown at us out of the equation. We're not giving into COVID and we're saying, nope, just not doing events. But at the same time, we're attempting to be really thoughtful and proactive in our planning with this plan. I visited with some of the other youth pastors. They're doing similar things. Visited with our pastoral team. They feel like this is the best stretch for us. Again, for right now, I'm not saying this is D now for forever. Just this year, this is how we need to do it. I know last year was really, really different. Although last year turned out really great, even how we had to do it last year. We're moving back towards normalcy with this direction, doing D now this way. So hope that makes sense. Obviously, if you have any questions, shoot that to me. But that's the plan. If you're not comfortable with your kids staying the night here, I totally understand that. You're welcome to come and get them Friday night after the worship session and then bring them back on Saturday afternoon. I know some of you have to come get your kids on Saturday anyway for various events. That's fine. Again, just be sure and reach out to us about that. But that's the plan for D now. I think it's going to be really, really good, guys. Again, I'm so excited that Gary's going to be our speaker. Your kids will benefit from this. All right, other stuff coming up. Send us your schedules. You hear me say this all the time. I genuinely love coming to your kids' ball games and concerts and competitions and plays and the whole night. I've been to a stock show. I've been to a checkers tournament. Really, the sky's the limit. I've come just to cheer your kids on while they work. And for those of your kids that don't do anything, and I've got a couple of those kids too, I just want to come hang out with them. I don't want to be a youth pastor that just sees your kids on Sundays and Wednesdays. And we work really hard to make that happen. So send us your schedules and then let me figure out, and it is a crazy little diagram that I put together, but I do my best to see every single one of our students do their thing over the course of the school year. And I want to continue that. So shoot us your schedules for this semester. Kate and Curly want to take part in that too. Also, I want to come and review some nachos. If you're selling nachos at your kids' event, I'm definitely there for that. By the way, I will award some school or some entity at the end of the school year who has the best nachos in the DFW area. I've got a pretty good feel right now, at least who I think is going to win, but it's a long semester. We'll see what happens. All right, high school girls, their foregathering is in February. It's the 18th and 19th. Talk to Kate about that. We pre-purchased some tickets. Those haven't been paid for yet. So even if you said you wanted a ticket, that you haven't paid for your ticket yet. So technically that spot's still open. So start to lock those up. You can talk to Kate about that. If we need to buy more tickets, we can certainly do that too. But you can email Kate, ktebow@lakechurchdfw.org. Other stuff coming out. I want you to have the youth camp dates. I've also got this fun video. We had so much fun filming this video. It might be my favorite youth video ever right now. We did a puzzle at youth camp this past summer, which I know sounds terribly boring, but I promise you it wasn't. It was competitive puzzling, and we've even got some competitive puzzling plans for camp this coming summer. But that's June 20th through 24th. A lot of y'all like to plan ahead, which is awesome. So there's those dates. We are not running the camp this year. We're joining with some other churches, some of which we joined with this past year. So you're going to see a lot of your friends. And then some new churches are also jumping aboard. I'm probably still the camp director, which I'm happy to do. However, we're not in charge of everything, which is pretty cool. But Lake Lavon legitimately is the best camp in the state of Texas as far as price and amenities and staff goes and facilities. They're just fantastic. So we're thrilled to go back there. More info about camp later on, but you've got those dates. Spring break. COVID has made the world crazy. That's not news to you, but it's made it incredibly hard to plan. So for instance, this past summer, I laid out grandiose plans of a 3-headed monster spring break mission trip effort. We were going to go to Israel, we were going to go to Bosnia, we were going to go to Mexico. Well, 2 of the 3 of those aren't happening. Not for a lack of effort. I've tried every which way to make it happen, but we're almost certainly not going to Israel. Right now, nobody is getting to Israel, regardless of where you come from. And when they do finally open the doors back, we know that they're going to require vaccines and at least 1 booster. Just hear my heart in this. I am not going to require a vaccine of your kids. That's just not my place. That's between you and the Lord and your family and what you do with vaccinations. I can't control governments. But I can control kind of what we require around here. So if we're doing mission trips that require those vaccinations, we're going to be cautious at best, right? At bare minimum, if we're doing something that requires vaccinations, I want to offer an opportunity that does not require vaccinations. So here's where we're at right now. Israel can't happen. Bosnia can't happen not because of vaccinations, but because of what it would require for us to get back into the United States once it's over. So if you've been watching the news, you know right now that airlines are crazy. They're canceling flights left and right. On top of that, getting into Bosnia right now is easy. They're not the least bit concerned about COVID. Getting out of Bosnia back into the United States, though, requires, again, either a vaccination or a negative COVID test, which shouldn't be a big deal, except you have to have a solid testing facility before you get on the plane, and that's not a guarantee in a communist nation like Bosnia. So we've had to go back to the drawing board. Right now where we're at is this. I'm doing my best to make a trip potentially this summer happen to go to Bosnia, because what I don't want to end up happening is a kid to get stuck over in any other country, and so they're missing school. If it's summer break, we still don't want to get stuck somewhere, but at least you've got some leeway there, right? We don't want to quite take that chance during the school year. So we're working on some possibilities for this summer as far as Bosnia goes, as well as some other countries. But in the meantime, here's what is likely to happen. And I'm going to say likely as opposed to for sure. Mexico is still a very real possibility. There's a couple of things that need to be worked out between us and the Mexican government and so on, but we're still leaning towards that. There is an organization in South Texas called Bounce that we've used in years past, and they're doing bounce trips in South Texas, and so that's a very real possibility. But the one I'm most intrigued by is this. Many of you know Laura Myers. Laura is filling in as our children's pastor right now. She's the children's associate. A few weeks ago when those tornadoes hit Missouri and Kentucky, her parents lived there. They lost their home entirely, as did a number of other people. Laura's parents are okay. They've already found another place for them to live. But Laura's father is a pastor, and he's saying, hey, we need help. Can you come and help? And I thought, man, what a great opportunity. We'd already been visiting with him about doing a mission trip this summer. They were looking for somebody to come and run a VBS for them. I think we're going to try really, really hard to move those dates up, though, to go over spring break to Missouri. It's on the Missouri-Kentucky line, and go not only do some VBS kind of stuff over spring break, which would be kind of cool, it's certainly different, but then also in the afternoon, spend some time doing cleanup and restoration as much as we can. So again, watch for information about that. Nice thing about it, we won't get on a plane, because again, getting on a plane right now is crazy. We'll drive there. Yes, that would be a long drive, but there's no vaccination requirement there. We're just going to go and be able to serve the way that we know that we can. So again, watch for information about that. I promise you, we are not going to stop trying to do mission trips, because this is the heart of the gospel. This is commandment number 1 from our Lord, is to go into all the world and preach the gospel, teaching others to obey all of Jesus' commandments, and baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And Jesus promises he will go with us to accomplish his purpose. So right now, what we're doing a lot of praying. Okay, God, where do you want us to go? And how do you want us to get there? Lord, how do we make sense of all of this? And in the meantime, we're going to continue to try to make these mission trips happen. Not only because it's a commandment, but I promise you, one of the best things for your kids, one of the most fruitful, spiritually powerful, life-changing moments in their lives will be when they go on a mission trip. My goal for your kids, by the time they start in 7th grade and when they finish as 12th graders, they will have gone at least on 3 mission trips. One domestic, one in another state, and then one foreign country mission trip, which is very doable. And so, again, just a heads up, we're going to keep trying to make that happen, and we're going to trust God to help us get there. All right, let's keep rolling. We're doing great. LC basketball's back. It's going really, really well. Again, they started this week. The place is a madhouse, but one of the things Katrina needs from us is she needs volunteers on Saturday to run the concession stand. And if we do that, it's a really cool and easy way for Lake students to earn vouchers. In fact, every time they volunteer to run the concession stand on a Saturday, and we probably need 4 each Saturday, they'll earn a $30 voucher that they can use towards youth camp or mission trips. Now, it would be really, really easy for me to say, first 4 to get it, every Saturday it's done. But I'd really like to spread the wealth on that. So if you got a Saturday that you know your kids can serve, send those to me. We'll start to lay out that calendar. It's every Saturday, starting the Saturday after D-Now. So not next weekend, after D-Now, through the Saturday before spring break starts. So there's several Saturdays where your kids can earn some money. It's easy. It's fun. They can munch on some popcorn and a drink while they do it. It's a great chance for them to engage people with the gospel. They are very much partners in this process as we, as a church family, engage lots of people in our community with the gospel. And again, it's just a great time. So let us know if you can help out. You can contact me or certainly contact Katrina. But let's take one thing off of Katrina's plate while she's managing all this other stuff. Kate and I will set up the schedule for concession stand. Final thing. Midweek, when we start back next Wednesday night, we are going to start a study called What Did Jesus Do? At the start of every school year, Kate and I ask the students, hey, what are some things that you want to learn this year? Every single year, the first thing out of their mouth is, we want to learn the book of Revelation. Well, we finished the book of Revelation, actually, funny enough, just before COVID hit in 2020. And then a few weeks later, kids wanted to study Revelation again because they thought we were in the middle of Revelation, right? So we're going to wait and do Revelation again, maybe next year, or maybe in the fall. But the second thing they requested the most was that we want to learn more about the life of Christ. What are the things that Jesus did? Most of you know the saying, what would Jesus do? We want to talk about what did Jesus do so that we know what we should be doing. Because if Jesus did things, we want to be doing those things too. So I'm excited. I don't know that it's going to take all semester, but we're going to take several weeks. I'm also excited this semester, at least 3 times, we're going to have students teach this semester, possibly more, and that's always a great time too. And I'm not going to tell the students what they can or can't teach. Well, maybe I'll tell them some things they can't teach, but I'm not going to hand them something and say, you have to teach this. But as far as what I'm teaching, what Kate and Curly are going to be teaching, it's what did Jesus do? We're excited about this study. So get your kids here on Wednesday nights. The doors open every Wednesday at 6. That's when we're playing Gaga Ball and video games. The concession stand open. 6:30 is when we start the service. 7:45 is when it's over. And then if they want to come and go to Chick-fil-A, that's not an official youth gathering. A lot of the kids just naturally gather there. Me and or Kate or Curly are usually there hanging out too. But we certainly love that also. But Wednesday nights, midweek is always great. And also, if your kid's musically inclined, Curly has the youth praise band running. And we'd love to get your kid involved with that. But guys, that's all I've got. Took just at 20 minutes. I so appreciate your patience. And I'm so incredibly grateful that you continue to let me be your youth pastor. Coming up on, this summer's going to be 5 years, which is amazing to think about. Kate is going to celebrate 5 years next month. She's been with us here, which is pretty cool. But we're so incredibly grateful that you trust us with your kids. I promise we're going to continue to do everything we can to be thoughtful and wise with how we're leading your students and what we're leading them to. Yeah, we're going to stretch them. We're going to challenge them with the scriptures and challenge them to follow Jesus, which isn't always a safe, pretty little bubble. But we will do our best to be thoughtful and wise with them in the process as we see them grow. And man, I can tell you, they are growing and it's so, so exciting. So thanks for your time. Love y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.